The crystal walls of Throneheart shook as another explosion echoed across the viewing screens. King Daisung stood before the massive display, his forearms gripped tight behind his back. His silver skin seemed to glow brighter with each flash of light from the battle happening millions of miles away. His eyes, large and luminous like twin moons, stared without blinking at the chaos unfolding in space. "Father, we need to pull back the fleet," Bora said from behind him. His eldest daughter wore the dark uniform of a commander, medals covering her chest. Her voice was steady, but Daesung could hear the fear underneath. "Hana's squadron is too far forward. They're surrounded." On the screens, small ships darted between massive black vessels. The enemy ships looked like they were made of living shadow, pulsing and moving in ways that defied logic. The Void Swarm had appeared 6 months ago at the edge of Caltheron space. They consumed everything. Planets, stations, entire fleets disappeared into their darkness. "Hana knows what she's doing," Daesung said, though his voice felt hollow. He watched his youngest daughter's flagship, a sleek silver vessel that bore the royal crest, diving through enemy fire. She was brave. Too brave, perhaps. The battle was not going well. The Caltherans had ruled this section of the galaxy for 3,000 years. Their technology was superior to every other species. Their warriors were trained from birth. But the Void Swarm didn't fight like anything they'd faced before. The creatures moved as one mind, adapting instantly to every strategy. "Princess Hana is requesting support on the eastern flank," an officer called out. "She says she can break their formation if we send reinforcements." "Negative," Bora snapped. "Tell her to retreat. That's an order." But Hana never listened to orders she didn't agree with. Daesung had raised her that way, encouraged her fire and independence. Now he wondered if that had been a mistake. On the screen, her flagship accelerated forward, her squadron following behind. They fired brilliant blue beams that cut through 2 of the shadow ships. For a moment, it looked like it might work. The Void Swarm's formation wavered. Hana's voice came through the communication channel, clear and determined. "All ships concentrate fire on the command vessel. We can win this." Then everything went wrong. The shadow ships that had seemed to retreat suddenly folded space around them. It was a trap. Hana's squadron found themselves in a sphere of enemy vessels with no way out. Daesung's hearts began to beat faster. "Get her out of there," he commanded. "Send everything we have." But it was too late. The Void Swarm ships opened fire all at once. The shields on Hana's flagship blazed bright, then brighter, then started to fail. Daesung watched as his daughter's ship tried to break through, firing in all directions. 3 of her squadron ships exploded in silence. "Hana, eject!" Bora was shouting into the communication channel. "Abandon ship." "That's a direct order." The flagship's shields collapsed. Energy beams tore through the hull. For just a second, Daesung saw smaller pods launching from the dying ship. Escape pods. Maybe Hana was in one of them. Maybe she had listened, then the flagship exploded. The screen showed a brief flash of white light that consumed everything around it. When the light faded, there was nothing left but debris and the dark shapes of the Void Swarm ships moving away. The command center fell silent. Every officer stared at the screens. Daesung felt his legs weaken, but he forced himself to stand straight. A king did not collapse. A king did not show weakness, even when his heart was breaking. "Scan for survivors," he said quietly. "Find every escape pod." The officers moved quickly, their hands flying over their control panels. Minutes passed. Then hours. They found 3 pods with survivors. Then 5, then 8. But none of them contained Hana. The other ships in her squadron reported the same. The princess was gone. Bora stood beside her father, her face like stone. She placed one hand on his shoulder. "She died with honor," Bora said. "She died protecting the Empire." Daesung said nothing. What were honor and empire worth without his daughter? He had lost his wife years ago in another battle. Now Hana was gone too. The cost of ruling, they called it. The price of leadership. But right now, he was not a king. He was just a father who had watched his child die. The battle continued, but without Hana's aggressive tactics, the Caltheran fleet pulled back. The Void Swarm claimed another system, another defeat. The officers began to file out of the command center, their heads bowed. They knew what came next. A week of mourning, funeral ceremonies, empty words about sacrifice and duty. Daesung remained at the viewing screen long after everyone else had gone. He stared at the debris field where his daughter had fallen. Somewhere in that vast darkness, her body drifted among the wreckage. Unreachable. Lost forever. Behind him, Bora gave orders to prepare the funeral rites. Her voice was different now. Colder. Harder. She had loved her sister despite their arguments and rivalry. Now that love had nowhere to go except into rage. "We will make them pay," Bora said, returning to stand beside her father. "The Void Swarm will burn for this." "I swear it." Daesung finally turned away from the screen. He looked at his remaining daughter and saw only vengeance in her eyes. It scared him. "War without wisdom is just murder," he told her. "Your sister would not want—" "My sister is dead," Bora interrupted. "And we are at war. There is no room for anything else." She left the command center, already planning her revenge. Daesung stood alone in the darkness, feeling older than his 400 years. The crystal walls of Throneheart no longer seemed beautiful. They were just another cage, trapping him in a life of endless loss. Across the galaxy, in the cold debris field where the battle had raged, an escape pod drifted through space. Its beacon was damaged, barely functioning. Inside, Princess Hana lay unconscious, her breathing shallow, her royal armor cracked and scorched. The pod tumbled slowly through the wreckage, invisible to the Caltheron scanners that had long since given up their search. And in another part of that same debris field, a small patched-together ship moved carefully between the floating metal corpses. It was a human vessel, barely worth calling a spacecraft. Its hull was covered in repairs and modifications. Its engines coughed and sputtered. But it was there, picking through the ruins, looking for anything valuable enough to sell. The ship's name, painted in fading letters on its side, was Lucky Break. And its captain, a tired human named Jinwoo, was about to have his luck change in ways he could never imagine. Jinwoo pulled his worn jacket tighter as the Lucky Break's heating system failed again. The ship groaned around him, old metal protesting every movement. He'd been salvaging the debris field for 3 days now, and all he had to show for it was a pile of melted scrap and a cargo hold that smelled like burnt circuits. "Got something on the scanner?" Yuna called from the weapons station. She was a short woman with sharp eyes and scars on her hands from too many repairs. "Looks like an intact pod. Might have good parts." "Might have a body," Minho added nervously. The engineer was young, always worried about something. "Maybe we should leave it." "Bodies don't pay for fuel," Jinwoo said. He guided the ship toward the pod's location. Through the viewport, he could see it tumbling slowly through space. It was different from the other debris. Sleeker, more expensive looking. "That's Caltheron design, military grade." "Oh, great," Yuna muttered. "You know what they do to humans caught with their stuff? They don't ask questions." Jinwoo knew. Everyone knew. The Caltherans saw humans as little more than scavengers, bottom feeders picking at the edges of civilized space. After Earth had been destroyed in the first contact wars, humans had scattered across the galaxy. Nobody wanted them. Nobody trusted them. The Caltherons least of all. But Jinwoo was desperate. They had been desperate for months. Fuel prices were up. Jobs were scarce. His crew hadn't eaten real food in weeks, just nutrition paste that tasted like plastic. One good score could change everything. "Bring it in," he ordered. "Quick and quiet." The Lucky Break's cargo bay opened, and Minho used the tractor beam to pull the pod inside. It was beautiful, even damaged as it was. The metal shimmered silver, and there were markings along the side that Jinwoo didn't recognize. Royal symbols, maybe. His stomach twisted with worry, but he pushed it down. They gathered in the cargo bay, standing around the pod. It was still sealed. Minho ran his scanner over it. "Life signs inside," he said, surprised. "Weak, but there. Someone's alive." "Could be worth something," Yuna said, though she didn't sound convinced. "Caltherons pay for their soldiers, right? Or they kill us for finding one," Minho countered. "Vote. We space it now, or we open it and deal with whatever's inside." They looked at Jinwoo. He was the captain. The decision was his. He studied the pod, thinking about the risks. If there was a Caltheron soldier inside, they could try to ransom them. Or maybe trade them for safe passage. Or maybe they'd just get executed for daring to touch royal property. Open it, Jinwoo said. Minho worked on the pod's access panel while Yuna kept her weapon ready. The seal hissed and the door slowly opened. Steam poured out, and inside, they saw her. She was clearly Caltheron. Silver skin, 4 arms, tall even lying down. But there was something different about her. The armor she wore had markings that made Minho gasp. That's royal armor. Captain, that's a princess. The alien woman's eyes snapped open. They were bright, fierce, and filled with pain. She tried to sit up, one hand going to the weapon at her side. But she was too weak. She collapsed back, breathing hard. Don't move, Yuna said, her weapon pointed at the alien's head. We're not going to hurt you if you cooperate. The princess stared at them, and Jinwoo saw recognition in her eyes. Recognition and disgust. Humans, she said in their language, though her accent was thick. Of course, scavengers picking at the dead. You're welcome for the rescue, Jinwoo said dryly. What's your name? I am Princess Hana of the Caltheron Empire, she said, trying again to sit up. This time she managed it, though her face showed her pain. You will return me to my people immediately. They will reward you. Your people think you're dead, Jinwoo told her. We've been listening to their broadcasts. Big funeral planned. Your sister gave a whole speech about revenge. Hana went very still. How long? 3 days since the battle. Your beacon was damaged. Nobody could find you. Jinwoo crossed his arms. But we did. So here's the deal. We take you back to Caltheron space. You make sure they don't kill us for touching a princess. And maybe if you're feeling generous, you mention we could use some reward money. You dare bargain with me? Hana's voice was cold with rage. I am royalty. You are nothing. Return me now, or face the consequences. Yuna laughed. The consequences? Lady, you're on our ship. You can barely stand. And the Void Swarm is still out there patrolling this sector. So maybe drop the attitude. For a moment, Jinwoo thought Hana might try to fight. Her 4 hands clenched into fists, and her eyes blazed. But then pain crossed her face and she slumped back. Fine, she said through gritted teeth. Take me home. But know this, humans. My people will hear how you treated their princess. The journey to Caltheron space would take weeks. Lucky break. Wasn't fast, and they had to avoid the main routes to stay away from the Void Swarm. Hana was given the small medical bay, which was barely more than a closet with a bed. She refused their help at first, too proud to accept human medicine, but infections didn't care about pride. On the 3rd day, Minho found her collapsed on the floor, fever burning through her. Jinwoo and Yuna carried her back to the bed and forced her to take their medicine. She was too weak to fight. As she recovered, Hana began to observe them. She had never been this close to humans before. They were strange creatures, weak compared to Caltherons, with only 2 arms and fragile skin. Their ship was a disaster, held together with repairs that shouldn't work. Everything about them screamed inferiority, but they confused her too. Jinwoo spent hours in the engine room helping Minho with repairs, even though he was the captain. Yuna shared her food rations without being asked. They laughed at their terrible situation instead of despairing. It was bizarre. The Void Swarm found them on the 8th day. 3 hunter ships appeared on the scanners, closing fast. Jinwoo cursed and pushed the Lucky Break's engines to maximum. The ship shook violently. We can't outrun them, Yuna shouted. We have to fight. With what? Our guns are older than I am, Jinwoo shot back. But he knew she was right. He started evasive maneuvers, throwing the ship into a wild pattern. Hana appeared on the bridge, still weak but standing. Let me to the weapon station, she demanded. You can barely walk, Jinwoo said. And you barely know how to fight, Hana snapped back. Those are Void Swarm hunters. I've killed dozens of them. Let me help or we all die. Jinwoo hesitated only a moment, then nodded. Yuna moved aside, and Hana took the controls. Her 4 hands flew over the panel, faster than any human could manage. She studied the approaching ships, calculating. Turn 40 degrees starboard on my mark, she ordered. Then cut engines completely. That's insane, Yuna said. They'll hit us. They'll overshoot us, Hana corrected. These hunters use predictive targeting. They expect you to keep running. Trust me. Mark. Jinwoo turned the ship. Hana waited, counting under her breath. Now. Cut engines. The lucky break went dark and silent, drifting. The 3 hunter ships roared past them, their weapons firing at empty space where the ship should have been. Before they could turn around, Hana opened fire. Her shots were precise, hitting weak points that shouldn't have been visible. 2 of the hunter ships exploded. The 3rd fled. The bridge was silent except for everyone's heavy breathing. Yuna stared at Hana with new respect. Minho looked like he might be sick from the wild maneuvers. Jinwoo turned to Hana. Where did you learn to do that? I am a warrior, Hana said simply. It is what I was born for. But she was looking at Jinwoo strangely. You turned when I told you to. No hesitation. You trusted me. You said you'd killed dozens of them, Jinwoo replied. Either you were telling the truth, or we were dead anyway. Seemed like a good bet. Something changed in Hana's expression. The contempt faded a little. You saved my engineer, she said quietly. During the turn he would have fallen. You caught him. Jinwoo shrugged. He's my crew, my family. He is not your blood, Hana pointed out. In my culture, only bloodline matters. Why would you risk yourself for someone unrelated? Because that's what humans do, Yuna said. We look out for each other. It's how we survived when nobody else would help us. Hana was quiet for a long time after that. The food synthesizer broke on day 12. Minho stared at the smoking machine with the expression of someone watching their last hope die. I can fix it, he said weakly. Give me. Maybe 3 days. And parts we don't have. Yuna kicked the wall. Perfect. Just perfect, Jinwoo rubbed his tired eyes. They were still a week from Caltheron space, and now they had no way to make food. The emergency rations would last maybe 4 days if they stretched them. He went to his private storage, the small locker he never opened in front of others, and pulled out a sealed container. Inside were things from Earth. Real things. From before. Dried vegetables. Preserved meat. Spices his grandmother had packed when they evacuated. He'd saved them for years, telling himself they were for emergencies. Well, this qualified. He started cooking in the small galley, using the basic heating element that still worked. The smell filled the ship. It was strange cooking without a synthesizer. Everything had to be done by hand. The vegetables had to be cut. The meat had to be seasoned. It was imperfect and inefficient. Hana appeared in the doorway, drawn by the smell. What are you doing? Making dinner, Jinwoo said, stirring the pot. Real dinner. Not synthesized. That's barbaric, Hana said, but she didn't leave. She watched him work, fascinated despite herself. Food should be molecularly printed for perfect nutrition. Perfect nutrition tastes like nothing, Jinwoo replied. He added spices and the smell got stronger. This tastes like home, or what home used to be. When it was ready, they ate together in the galley. Minho and Yuna ate like they were starving, which they almost were. Hana was more cautious, taking small bites. Her face showed confusion, then surprise. It's uneven, she said. Some parts are more cooked than others. The texture is inconsistent. Yep, Jinwoo agreed. That's the point, but why? Hana took another bite. This is inefficient, imperfect. Because perfect gets boring, Yuna said. Because when you eat something made by hand, you're tasting more than food. You're tasting effort, care, love even. Hana was silent, chewing slowly. Jinwoo could see her thinking. On Caltheron worlds, food was just fuel. Perfectly measured nutrition delivered without thought. No one cooked anymore. No one had for generations. It was beneath them. Tell me about Earth, Hana said suddenly. I know it was destroyed, but what was it like before? Jinwoo didn't talk about Earth, ever. But maybe it was the exhaustion, or maybe it was because Hana was actually listening, not dismissing him. It was blue, he said quietly. Blue oceans and green lands. My grandmother used to tell me about her garden. Real plants growing in real dirt, not hydroponics. She said every morning she'd pick fresh vegetables for breakfast. Why did you leave? Hana asked. We didn't have a choice, Yuna said, her voice bitter. The Confederation made first contact. They offered membership. We said yes. Then they decided Earth's location was strategically valuable, so they moved us out and turned our planet into a military base. Called it necessary sacrifice for the greater good. Your people didn't fight? Hana seemed surprised. We tried, Jinwoo said. We were decades behind in technology. They destroyed our defense fleet in hours. Then they gave us a choice. Leave peacefully or die. So we became refugees in our own galaxy, scattered across 1,000 stations and colony ships. The Confederation got our planet and we got this. He gestured at the cramped, broken ship around them. Hana looked down at her food. I didn't know. Why would you? Minho said, not unkindly. We're nobody. Just scavengers, right? Over the next days, something shifted. Hana stopped treating them like servants. She helped Minho with repairs, her engineering knowledge far beyond theirs. She taught Yuna advanced combat techniques. She listened when they talked about their lives. Jinwoo found her one night in the observation port staring at the stars. Can't sleep? He asked. I keep thinking about what you said, Hana admitted, about bloodline not mattering. In my culture, everything is about bloodline. Who your parents are determines your entire life. I became a warrior to prove I was more than just the king's daughter. But I never questioned the system itself. And now? Now I wonder if we're wrong. She looked at him. You risked everything to bring me home. You could have sold me to my enemies, taken my armor and technology, left me to die. But you didn't. Why? Jinwoo thought about it. Because it was the right thing to do. That's it. That's the whole reason. That's very human, Hana said softly. Yeah, Jinwoo agreed. I guess it is. They reached the border of Caltheron space on day 19. Immediately alarms blared. 3 massive warships appeared surrounding the Lucky Break. Weapons locked on. Jinwoo raised his hand slowly even though they couldn't see him. Attention, human vessel, a cold voice said over the communication channel. You are in restricted space. Prepare to be boarded or be destroyed. This is Captain Jinwoo of the Lucky Break, he said carefully. We're carrying a passenger. Someone important. We need to speak with. All human ships are hostile by default, the voice interrupted. You have 10 seconds to power down. Hana pushed forward to the communication panel. This is Princess Hana of House Daesung, she said, her voice commanding. Stand down immediately. These humans are under my protection. There was a long silence. Then, Princess Hana is dead, killed in battle 19 days ago. Identify yourself or be destroyed. I am not dead, obviously, Hana snapped. Check my DNA signature. It's in the database. And if you fire on this ship, you'll be executing a member of the royal family. Another pause. Then the warships backed off slightly, though their weapons stayed active. DNA confirmed, the voice said, now uncertain. Princess Hana, you should know. Commander Bora is on her way. She'll want to verify personally. An hour later, a dreadnought arrived. It was massive, making the warships look like toys. A shuttle launched from it and docked with the Lucky Break. Bora entered the ship, surrounded by armed guards. The 2 sisters stared at each other. Bora's face was a mask of ice. Hana, she said. You're alive. Disappointed? Hana asked. Confused, Bora replied. She looked at Jinwoo and his crew with open disgust. And you brought humans. Of course you did. They saved my life, Hana said firmly. They deserve respect and reward. They deserve imprisonment, Bora countered. For theft of royal property. For kidnapping a princess. I wasn't kidnapped, Hana interrupted. Captain Jinwoo found my pod. He could have taken everything valuable and left me to die. Instead, he brought me home. That deserves gratitude, not accusations. Bora's expression hardened. You've been contaminated. 3 weeks with humans and you defend them. Father will hear about this. The crew was arrested anyway. They were taken to Throneheart in chains, the Lucky Break impounded. Yuna and Minho looked terrified. Jinwoo tried to stay calm, but his heart was racing. They were going to die. He'd made a mistake trusting that royalty would keep their word. The throne room was massive, all crystal and light. King Daisung sat on a throne that seemed to be carved from a single diamond. Bora stood at his right hand. Hana stood at his left, still arguing. Father, these humans saved my life, Hana was saying. They deserve honor, not execution. They are humans, an old Caltheron in fancy robes said. This was Chancellor Taewon, Jinwoo learned later. They are thieves and opportunists. They probably damaged your pod themselves to create this situation. That's ridiculous, Hana protested, is it? Taewon turned to the king. Your Majesty, think carefully. If we show weakness to humans, others will see it as opportunity. We must maintain our superiority. Ambassador Hugh, the human diplomat, stepped forward. He was an older man with gray hair and tired eyes. Your Majesty, I beg you to consider. You beg often, Ambassador, Taewon interrupted. It's your people's natural state. The court laughed. Hyuk's face showed pain, but he persisted. These humans acted with honor. If you execute them, you tell every human in the galaxy that kindness to Caltherons means death. Is that the message you want to send? Daesung held up one hand for silence. He looked at Jinwoo for the first time. Human captain. You will speak. Tell me why I should not execute you for touching my daughter. Jinwoo's throat was dry. He could lie, try to make himself sound heroic. But he'd never been good at lying, so he told the truth. I was looking for salvage, he admitted. Found her pod. Thought maybe I could ransom her. I won't pretend I'm a hero. But she was dying. So I helped her, and then I got to know her and I realized. He paused, choosing his words. I realized that maybe the galaxy doesn't have to be just predators and prey. Maybe sometimes people can just help each other because it's right. Beautiful sentiment, Bora said coldly. Worthless in practice, is it? Jinwoo met her eyes. Your sister is alive. Doesn't that count for something? The throne room fell silent. King Daesung studied Jinwoo for a long time. Finally, he spoke. I will consider your words. The court is dismissed. The humans will remain imprisoned until I decide their fate. As guards led them away, Jinwoo looked back. Hana was watching him, her expression unreadable. He tried to smile to show he wasn't scared. But he was. Terrified, actually. In the cell, Yuna sat with her head in her hands. Minyo paced nervously. Jinwoo leaned against the wall, thinking about his grandmother's garden on Earth, about blue skies he'd never see again. I'm sorry, he told his crew. I got you into this. The alarm that woke them was different from any other sound. It was deep and terrible, shaking the walls of their cell. Jinwoo jumped to his feet as red lights flooded the corridor outside. What's happening? Minyo asked, pressing against the bars. A Caltheron guard ran past, not even looking at them. Then another. They were all heading in the same direction, weapons ready. Through the walls they could hear distant explosions. We're under attack, Yuna said quietly. The Void Swarm hit Throneheart with everything they had. Hundreds of shadow ships appeared from nowhere, tearing through the defense fleet. They'd never been this organized before, never this coordinated. It was as if they had learned from every previous battle. In the throne room, King Daesung issued orders rapidly. Bora commanded the defense from a tactical station, her face grim. Hana stood beside her father, watching the screens in horror. They're targeting the power stations, General Kyung reported. He was an old warrior with scars covering his silver skin. If they take those out, the shields will fail. How did they get this far? Daesung demanded. Where were our early warning systems? Bypassed, Kyung said. They knew exactly where to strike. It's like they understand our defenses. Bora's hands moved across her controls. I'm taking the 4th Fleet out. You're needed here, Daesung interrupted. Coordinate from the fortress. Father, I can't just sit here while... An explosion rocked the building. Crystal walls cracked. Smoke began to fill the throne room. An officer shouted, Hull breach on level 7. The swarm is inside! Chaos erupted. Soldiers rushed to defensive positions. Civilians ran for evacuation ships. The perfect order of the Caltheron court dissolved into panic. In the prison level, the power failed. The cell doors opened automatically as the emergency systems kicked in. Jinwoo looked at his crew. This is our chance. We run. Run where? Minyo asked. We're in the middle of an alien fortress during an invasion. Anywhere but here, Yuna said. She grabbed a weapon from an abandoned guard station. Come on. They ran through corridors filled with smoke and confusion. Caltheron soldiers rushed past them, too focused on the invasion to care about escaped prisoners. The fortress shook with each explosion. Somewhere above them, the battle raged. They turned a corner and found General Kyung organizing a defensive line. The old warrior saw them and raised his weapon. For a moment, Jinwoo thought he'd shoot. Instead, Kyung lowered the gun. You're the humans, he said, the ones who brought back the princess. That's us, Jinwoo replied carefully. We're just trying to survive here. Kyung studied them. Can you fight? If we have to, Yuna said. Then fight. Kyung tossed them weapons. The swarm is trying to reach the king. We need every defender we can get. Jinwoo caught the weapon, surprised. You trust us? I trust that you want to live, Kyung said. And right now that's enough. Follow me. They joined the defensive line. The void swarm creatures poured through the breach, dark shapes that moved wrong, like shadows come alive. The Kaltharan soldiers fired in disciplined volleys, but there were too many. Yuna took position and started shooting. Her aim was perfect, dropping targets that the Kaltharan soldiers missed. Minho used his engineering knowledge to seal doors and redirect the creatures into kill zones. Jinwoo coordinated their small section, calling out targets and directions. They fight well, one Kaltharan soldier said, surprised. Humans are good at fighting desperate battles, another replied. It's all they know. The swarm pushed forward. A massive creature, larger than the others, broke through the line. It was heading straight for the throne room. Kyung tried to stop it, but it swatted him aside like he weighed nothing. The general hit the wall hard and didn't get up. We need to slow it down, Jinwoo shouted. He looked around frantically. The corridor had structural supports, old crystal pillars holding up the ceiling. Minho, can you collapse this section? Minho's eyes went wide. That would trap us on this side with that thing, but it would buy time for evacuation. Can you do it? Give me 2 minutes, Minho said, already running to the controls. The creature was getting closer. Yuna fired everything she had at it, barely slowing it down. Jinwoo grabbed a plasma lance from a fallen soldier and charged forward. It was stupid, suicidal, but someone had to buy Minho those 2 minutes. The creature turned toward him. Up close it was terrifying, all wrong angles and darkness. Jinwoo stabbed at it with the lance, knowing it wouldn't be enough. The creature's limb came down. Then Hana was there. She moved like lightning, her forearms carrying weapons that blazed with energy. She drove the creature back with precision strikes, each one hitting vital points. Behind her came more Kaltharan warriors, organized and efficient. Get back, human, Hana shouted at Jinwoo. This is above your level. Your general is down, Jinwoo shouted back. Someone had to do something. Hana glanced at Kyung's unconscious form and something flickered in her eyes. Respect, maybe. Or surprise. She refocused on the creature, and together with her warriors they brought it down. Minho got the supports rigged. Ready? He called, everybody back, Hana ordered. The Kaltharan soldiers retreated through the throne room doors. Jinwoo helped carry Kyung. Yuna covered their retreat. As soon as they were clear, Minho triggered the collapse. The corridor ceiling came down in a cascade of crystal and metal. The swarm creatures on the other side were trapped. It wouldn't hold forever, but it would give them time. In the throne room, King Daesung saw his daughter return with the wounded and the humans who had helped save them. Bora was coordinating the evacuation, but she stopped to stare. The eastern breach is sealed, Hana reported to her father. General Kyung is injured but alive. The humans fought with us. The humans, Taewon said from his corner, are criminals who saved my soldiers, Kyung interrupted, conscious again though clearly in pain. Without them, that creature would have reached this room. Your Majesty, I recommend commendation. Before Daesung could respond, a new alarm sounded. An officer shouted, The western defenses are falling. Commander Bora's position is cut off. Bora looked up from her station, realization crossing her face. She'd sent troops to reinforce the west, but they'd walked into a trap. The Void Swarm had anticipated her strategy. Now her best soldiers were surrounded with no way out. I have to go, Bora said, already moving toward the door. You're needed here, Daesung said again, but his voice was weaker this time. My soldiers are dying, Bora replied. I won't abandon them. Hana grabbed her sister's arm. It's a trap. You know it's a trap. They want you to, I know, Bora said quietly. But they're my people. I'm going. Then I'm coming with you, Hana said. No, Daesung commanded. I can't lose both daughters. Jinwoo stepped forward. Everyone turned to look at him. Your Majesty, my crew and I know how to fight asymmetrically. We've been doing it our whole lives. Let us help, why would you? Bora asked, her voice cold. I was going to execute you. Yeah, Jinwoo agreed. But you're also trying to save your people. That counts for something. And besides, we're already here. Might as well be useful. Daesung looked at the human captain for a long moment. Then he nodded. Go, all of you. Bring back my daughter and her soldiers. They took a fast transport through the fortress. Bora piloted with Hana beside her. Jinwoo, Yuna, and Minho were in the back checking their weapons. 2 Kaltharan soldiers came with them, young and scared but determined. "Why are you doing this?" Bora asked without looking back. "Really? Honestly?" Jinwoo replied. "I'm tired of running. Tired of being looked down on. Tired of humans being the galaxy's punching bag. Maybe if we help now, if we prove ourselves, things can change. Or maybe I'm just stupid." "You're definitely stupid," Yuna muttered, checking her rifle. "But you're right. We have to start somewhere." They reached the western section. It was a war zone. Caltheron soldiers fought desperately against overwhelming swarm forces. The creatures had adapted new tactics, using the fortress's own structure against the defenders. "There," Hana pointed. "Bora's command squad is in that section." "Cut off. Main corridors are blocked," Minho observed. "But there's a maintenance shaft here. Narrow. The swarm's larger units can't fit." "Neither can we," one of the Caltheron soldiers said, gesturing at his forearms. "We're too big. But humans aren't," Jinwoo realized. "We're smaller." "We can fit," Bora stared at him. "You'd go alone? Into a swarm-infested shaft to save my soldiers?" "Not alone," Yuna said. "We're a package deal." "And we're not doing it alone," Jinwoo added. "You'll create a distraction. Draw them away. We slip in, get your people, slip out, simple." "Simple," Hana repeated. "Nothing about this is simple, but they did it anyway." Bora and Hana led the attack on the main corridor, making as much noise as possible. The swarm forces turned to face them just as planned. Jinwoo, Yuna, and Minho crawled through the maintenance shaft. It was tight, dark, and filled with the sounds of battle above them. Minho led the way, his engineer's knowledge of the fortress layout guiding them. They emerged in the trapped section behind swarm lines. The Caltheron soldiers were making their last stand. 20 warriors in a defensive circle, ammunition running low. When they saw the humans crawl out of the floor, their expressions were priceless. "We're here to rescue you," Jinwoo said. "Jokes about humans saving Caltherons come later. Right now, follow us. Single file." One by one, the soldiers crawled through the shaft. 3 days after the battle, King Daisung called a full assembly of the court. The crystal throne room was packed with nobles, military officers, and diplomats from across the empire. Ambassador Hyuk stood among them, looking nervous. Jinwoo and his crew stood in the center, surrounded by guards but no longer in chains. "We are here to address the matter of the humans," Daesung announced, his voice carrying through the hall, "and to make decisions about our future." Chancellor Taewon stepped forward immediately. "Your Majesty, while we are grateful these humans assisted during the emergency, we must not forget what they are. Scavengers. Opportunists. They found your daughter's pod and saw a chance for profit." "That's true," Jinwoo said, before anyone could stop him. "I did see profit. I won't lie about that. We were desperate, starving. I thought maybe I could ransom a Caltheron soldier. I didn't know she was royalty," the court murmured. Taewon smiled, thinking he'd won. "You see, he admits his guilt. But then," Jinwoo continued, "I got to know her. Got to know all of you in a way. And I realized something. We're not so different. You fight for your people. So do we. You love your family. So do we. You want a future worth living. So do we. The only difference is you have power and we don't." "Precisely," Taewon said. "Power determines everything in this galaxy. The strong rule. The weak serve or die. That is the natural order." "The natural order is dying," General Kyung said, stepping forward despite his injuries. "Your Majesty, I have fought the Void Swarm for months. They are winning. They adapt faster than we can respond. They learn from every battle. Our traditional strategies don't work anymore." "Then we need new strategies," Bora said. She stood beside her sister, their earlier animosity gone. "I watched the humans fight. They think differently than we do. They use tactics we'd never consider. Crawling through maintenance shafts, collapsing corridors, fighting with improvised weapons. They win battles they should lose because they refuse to accept defeat." "They are desperate," Taewon countered. "Desperation is not a strategy, isn't it?" Hana spoke now, her voice clear. "Father, ask yourself honestly. If you had found my pod, would you have opened it? Or would you have seen the risk and moved on? The humans chose to save me when it was dangerous and unprofitable. That's not desperation. That's courage." A female voice spoke from the crowd. "May I speak?" It was Suk, Hana's childhood friend. She looked different now, thinner and scarred. "I was captured by the Void Swarm 2 months ago. Interrogated, I escaped, but barely." The court fell silent. Caltheron soldiers didn't speak of capture. It was considered shameful. "The swarm is not mindless," Suk continued. They have leaders, intelligence. The creatures asked me questions about our tactics, our defenses, our culture. They're learning from us, and they'll keep winning until we learn from others. She looked at Jinwoo. Even from species we consider beneath us. Taewon tried again. These humans could be spies. They could have engineered this entire situation. Found the princess, gained her trust, infiltrated our fortress. Oh, shut up, Bora snapped. Everyone stared. A princess didn't speak that way in court. But Bora continued. I ordered the humans executed. They had every reason to let me die in that trap. Instead, they saved me and 20 of my soldiers. If that's a spy operation, it's the stupidest one in history. Some of the younger officers laughed. The older nobles looked scandalized. Daesung raised one hand for silence. Ambassador Yuk, the king said, you have been requesting better treatment for humans for years. Speak now. What do your people want? Hyuk looked surprised to be addressed directly. He gathered himself. Your Majesty, we want what everyone wants, safety, dignity, a place to call home. We don't ask to rule. We don't ask for special treatment. We just ask to be treated as equals, as people worthy of respect. You ask for much, Taewon said. We ask for basic decency, Hyuk replied. And in return, we offer our skills. Humans are survivors. We adapt, we innovate. We fight with everything we have because we have nothing to lose. Let us fight beside you, not as servants. As allies, Daesung was quiet for a long time. He looked at his daughters standing together, at General Kyung, who had seen the humans fight, at the captured data from the Void Swarm's attack patterns. Finally, he looked at Jinwoo. Human captain, Daesung said, if I grant your people sanctuary, if I make them allies of the Empire, what guarantee do I have that you will honor this alliance? You have my word, Jinwoo said simply. I know that doesn't mean much to you. Humans have no power, no grand fleets, nothing to offer as collateral. Just our word. But it's all we have, and we don't give it lightly. Your word, Taewon scoffed. The word of a scavenger. The word of someone who risked everything to do the right thing, Hana corrected. Father, I trust him. Bora trusts him. Kyung trusts him. When will that be enough? Daesung stood from his throne. The entire court held its breath. The Kaltheron Empire has stood for 3,000 years on the principle of superiority. We have believed ourselves above all others, but the Void Swarm has shown us the cost of that pride. They are beating us because we refuse to adapt, refuse to learn, refuse to accept help. He walked down from the throne, approaching Jinwoo. The human captain stood his ground, though he was clearly terrified. You saved my daughter twice, Daesung said, once from death, once from losing herself to grief and isolation. You fought for my people when you had no obligation. You showed my daughters what real honor looks like. He paused. I was wrong about humans. We were all wrong. The king turned to address the full court. From this day forward, humanity is under the protection of the Kaltheron Empire. They will be granted sanctuary on our worlds. They will be offered positions in our military, our industries, our society, not as second-class citizens. As equals, the court erupted. Some nobles cheered. Others protested loudly. Taewon looked furious. But the king's word was law. More, Daesung continued. I am establishing a joint military command. Kaltheron and human forces will train together, fight together. Princess Hana will lead this command. Commander Bora will serve as her second. Hana looked shocked. Bora nodded acceptance. Together they saluted their father. Captain Jinwoo, Daesung said, you and your crew will receive full pardons and commendations. Your ship will be repaired and upgraded, and you will serve as an advisor to the joint command if you accept. Jinwoo looked at Yuna and Minho. They nodded. We accept, Jinwoo said. With honor. Then it is done, Daesung declared. Let the era of isolation end. Let the age of alliance begin. The ceremony continued for hours, but eventually, Jinwoo found himself alone in one of the fortress gardens. The crystal trees reflected starlight in strange patterns. He was exhausted, overwhelmed, and still not quite sure any of this was real. Hana found him there. She sat beside him without speaking for a while. So, Jinwoo finally said, you're in charge of the military now. That's a big job. Yes, Hana agreed, and I have no idea how to do it. Combining two completely different military cultures, teaching Kaltherons to think like humans and humans to fight like Kaltherons. It's going to be chaos, probably, Jinwoo said, but you'll figure it out. You're good at the impossible. I learned from humans, Hana said with a slight smile. You specialize in the impossible. They sat quietly for a moment. Then Hana said, "You're leaving, aren't you?" "Going back to human space to recruit. Someone has to," Jinwoo replied. "There are millions of humans scattered across the galaxy. Refugees on stations, crews on old ships, families hiding in asteroid colonies. They need to know about this. About the Alliance. About hope. How long? 6 months, maybe. Maybe longer." He pulled something from his pocket, a small compass, old and scratched. "This was my grandmother's, from Earth before. It still points to magnetic north, wherever that might be now. I want you to have it." Hana took the compass carefully. "Why?" "So you don't lose your way," Jinwoo said. "Leading is hard. People will question you, doubt you, try to pull you in different directions. That compass can remind you that some things stay constant. Some directions are always true." Hana was quiet. Then she removed her royal insignia, the symbol that marked her as a princess. She pressed it into Jinwoo's hand. "Take this. When you speak to human communities, they'll know you speak with the Empire's voice. They'll know this alliance is real. Hana, keep it," she insisted. "And come back. We'll need you. I'll need you." Jinwoo closed his hand around the insignia. "I'll come back. That's a promise." King Daesung watched from a high window, seeing his daughter and the human captain sitting together in the garden. Kyung stood beside him. "You did the right thing," Kyung said. "I hope so," Daesung replied. "I've spent my life believing we were superior. That other species were beneath us. Now I'm trusting my kingdom's future to humans." "Not to humans," Kyung corrected. "To people. That's what the captain taught us. Species doesn't matter. What matters is what you do when it counts." 6 months passed. The joint military training was exactly as chaotic as predicted. Caltheron officers struggled with human informality. Human recruits struggled with Caltheron discipline. But slowly, grudgingly, they began to work together. Ambassador Hyuk oversaw the settlement of human refugees on 3 Caltheron colony worlds. It wasn't always smooth. There were conflicts, misunderstandings, old prejudices that died hard. But it was happening.